Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. We have an update to a story that's actually getting a lot of attention. Ivan on his podcast, The Vibe Pod with Demar, responding to criticism for his opinion on how Rachel's doing on this season of The Bachelorettes. And of course, former lead Katie Thurston has responded through comment and on her Instagram Live. And others, Genevieve has responded. People are torn on this issue. A lot of people agree with him. A lot think it's horrible to share this type of opinion. We're going to get into this. We're going to share exactly what he said. He addressed the audience. It's like, welcome to the club. You're going to start talking about The Bachelor. You're going to get people pissed off. That's how it works. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Stand-up show updates over there. I'm also going to go live on Patreon this morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. As soon as you're done with this, I'll be live on Patreon. You can come check out all the behind-the-scenes content. And I actually, for one, enjoy their podcast, The Vibe. I think it's good. And this is what it comes down to, right? It's like we all want to let people share their opinions until we disagree with them, and then we just get mad at them. Ivan has seen the world through his set of eyes, which is a very unique position in the Bachelor community, mainly because he's one of the farthest. He has gone farther than most. As a person of color on the show, and as a guy, we don't have as many male opinions. And you might go, oh my gosh, geez, we've got enough male opinions. We don't need more mansplainers. I totally understand, but it's his podcast. He's going to share what he thinks about the whole process. Now, he hasn't been a lead, but he's been on Bachelor in Paradise, and he's been, like I said, on The Bachelorette. He went to Hometowns with Tayshia, right? Hometowns during the pandemic was them hanging out at a camper Airstream. But anyway, let's just watch what he initially said.
Dare I say, is it a red flag? All these ups, like Rachel is roller coaster ups.
Look at
downs,
Demar go.
Ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Sweet girl, all that stuff. That's almost a red flag at this point. Like, these guys, they have to be like, when Jesse comes up to them and is like, hey, the group date is canceled because some stuff happened and Rachel wanted to cancel it. In my mind, I'm like, all right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 too many times on me. I would have pulled a Logan and switched teams when she pulled that.
You would have also been sent home. Yes.
Okay, so the question
you
becomes,
would have had to walk the plank talking about my switch team.
So if you don't like what his opinion was, what's the alternative? The alternative is that you either don't listen to his opinion, or you shame him to the point where he no longer shares how he feels. I, for one, think we don't need to live in like a polite society where people just say what they think everyone else is supposed to say. If Ivan feels like that's a red flag that he's watching, share it. Now, we understand Ivan's never been in the position of the lead, so he doesn't exactly know what they're going through. Katie Thurston says, unless you've been a lead, you have no idea what it's like. I don't care if you were a contestant twice. It's not the same. You think you know, but I promise you don't. So let's stop judging Rachel so harshly. I agree with the first part that if you haven't been in the lead, you shouldn't know. But then to say that they're judging Rachel so harshly, I think people are defending Rachel because everyone sees how badly she's botching it. That's what I personally feel. And again, this could just be the producer's edit, right? But I personally feel that they are making her, with her help or not, look horribly on the show. And people feel bad for Rachel, okay? Now the question becomes the like linguistic definition of red flags. Is it a red flag or not? 10 red flags in relationships. And in relationships, red flags are signs that the person probably can't have a healthy relationship and proceed down the road together, would be emotionally dangerous. Now, the show is so twisted with what the producers do and how they're pitting these women against each other that I would argue almost nothing that comes on the show can be considered a true red flag in real life, because chances are Rachel will never be in this experience again where she'll have to face her demons and get all this rejection and all that. And not to mention, of course, this article, when it talks about red flags, they talk about the heavy, obvious stuff like alcoholism, drug addiction, violent displays, mismatched relationship goals, persistent jealousy, history of infidelity. To me, to a guy, I feel like history of infidelity is one of the big red flags. Those are red flags. So instead, he actually,
for me,
he later says that he downgrades it to a yellow flag, which, by the way, yellow flag, that sounds like a ska band. Yellow card. All right, Jen Parisi says, I'm sorry, Ivan. Oh, she said it with caps. I'm sorry, Ivan. I don't think you, of all people, are in the position to be saying this. And my response to Jen would be like, I'm sorry, Jen. You had a pretty messy women tell all, so we're gonna have to see how it plays out. But I don't think she's the beacon of healthy communication herself. So then Ivan says, Jen, hey, check out the poll Bachelor Nation Scoop posted. I'm in the majority on this one. I fully think Rachel is wonderful, but if I were a contestant, I would be a little concerned. I think it's perfectly valid for these guys to try to understand and have questions about the lead and their actions. And of course, we know Tino brought that up to Rachel saying, hey, you canceled the date we're supposed to be on. Like, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, you gotta have grace for them, but you gotta take care of yourself too, or else you're codependent when you put someone else's needs ahead of your own. Ivan says, wish you all the best and excited to see Bachelor in Paradise 8. I love Ivan's response. I think he's doing a good job of not sort of bowing down out of his opinion. He's just saying, hey, like there's this is the way I see it. Here's what Katie Thurston had to say last night on her Instagram Live regarding Ivan's comments.
It pisses me off when people then want to critique, especially people who have been on the show before, leads and cast members, who want to critique someone as if they don't know what the fuck happens behind the scenes.
Now, and so the comment goes, hi, Ivan, talking to you. And that understand, that, you understand that. But at the same time, Ivan, like we all do, we watch the show saying, what would I do in this situation? Ivan says, man, if I was dating somebody on the show and the fourth date was canceled, when has a group date been canceled? That's when Ivan said, I don't know. I'd start to wonder, like, what's going on back there?
I'm like, there's a way that you can say what you really think and support these people who are going through literal hell. So anyway, there's my 2 cents. Actually, I commented on...
So then we read her comment already. And look, I just personally don't think Ivan handled it in a way that was completely dismissive of Rachel. But then again... maybe it was the actual calling it a red flag, which is the problem. Let's see what he has to say.
All right, there's been so much talk. I've been blowing up my phone today about this whole situation with Rachel. Love you, Rachel. I would just like to say, if anybody wants to come on the podcast, we could talk about it next week. Bachelor Nation, non-Bachelor Nation.
So there it is. And then continues on the Vibe podcast. They say they appreciate the comments. Someone said, I liked how our Bachelor Nation.scoop said, I like how Ivan and Demar are not afraid to share their honest opinions. That's what we want. They don't have to be right opinions because they're not hateful opinions, right? I think we need to be able to differentiate between someone's vicious, hateful, oh, Rachel's the worst, versus going, ooh, yikes. Didn't we all feel that way watching that?
It's been a crazy day. Please watch or listen to our entire podcast before you come at me. But I will say,
that's another good point too. That if you're only pulling from a clip, that's not fair. It's not fair to pull from just a clip, which I've done, but I'm also not slamming Ivan. So watch the Vibe for yourself. They're doing a good job with production quality, and I think they're a good set of voices to have in the Bachelor community. We're always like, oh, we need more men, and we need more diversity within the series, and then all of a sudden someone shares an opinion that some people don't like, and they're like, oh, these guys, they're just walking red flags. It's like, what is this? You're not a red flag. I'm a red flag. You're a red flag. You're a purple. You're a blue. I don't know what the different colors mean.
If anybody has an opposing view to me, please let me know, whether you're a Bachelor Nation contestant or fan. Hop on the podcast and we can talk about it. I'm definitely open to listening to all sides. Definitely open to changing my mind if you can.
There it is. Open to changing my mind. Healthy conversation. There's enough bandwidth on the internet for healthy conversation.
Convince me, we'll see. But yeah, let's do it. I think good, healthy conversation over these things make a lot of sense. So let's do that. Much love. Nothing but love for Rachel and Gabby, honestly. Like, being a lead, I couldn't imagine it. So much to factor in, so many things going on around you. It's got to be tough. So much love to them. I wish them all the best, and I hope they're happy.
So there we have it. Ivan has said, I wish you all the best. I hope they're happy. Must be tough with all the things going on. And then he also says at the same time earlier, he says, but if you cancel a group date and other things are being canceled, I'm going to start to wonder what's going on. That's what he said.
That makes sense. But thank you so much for coming out. Now, today as a whole, kind of an exhausting day.
It's exhausting to be criticized and disliked by people on the internet when you share your opinion. It is. It's exhausting. All you're trying to do is create your podcast, have conversations, and I know now, but people, Dave, you're villain. You're siding with the wrong side. I don't know what people would think about my opinion on this, but my opinion is that I think it's okay whether you agree or disagree with people for them to talk. You can just decide to not listen to the podcast.
But definitely telling, I appreciate, so does Ivan, I appreciate every single person who had constructive criticism. Who had
So the people that weren't constructive, GTFO, get out of here. He's being very kind. He's being very kind in that he's addressing y'all.
Had positive feedback, whatever side you landed on with the topic that we discussed on our podcast.
Also, this is great traffic for their podcast. And by the way, good audio quality. Always good audio quality in a car. A car is like a natural sound booth, unless you're in a loud area. But if you just parked in your car, good lighting too.
In the last episode and also in the last reel, just thank you. Because ultimately, we want to hear y'all out. We want to hear all the point of views. No matter what me and Ivan may talk about on our podcast, we may disagree with each other, agree with each other, whatever it is. But we do want to hear you. Also, thank y'all so much for allowing us to have this type of platform so that we can be able to give y'all these podcasts and to get feedback back. It's all appreciated at the end of the day. It's all love. So if you want to hop on the podcast, DM us and we'll see what's going on.
It's all love. And I just want to remind people, let's treat these conversations like we're a big family at a dinner table. Let's have respect for differencing of opinions, and let's criticize the point and not the person. We need to remember to hammer down on this. Ivan's not a bad guy if he thinks that Rachel handled it a certain way. Would that opinion be ignorant? Well, he doesn't have as much knowledge as a Katie Thurston would have, but he's trying his best with the info he has. Very analytical too. He's like, by the way, I think we missed out on where he said that. Hold on one second. He had commented, and I think I lost it, but let's find it right now. He had commented that he downgraded to a red flag to a yellow flag. So he says, I downgraded to a yellow flag, but I do think Tina was justified in questioning Rachel for another canceled date with the guys. Definitely rooting for both of them. Full response next week. Yeah, it's just mind blowing to me because I personally think the audience is split down the middle on this one. I think there's people that think Rachel's just handling it really poorly, and then there's the people that actually, to be honest, I don't think too many people disagree with that assumption at all, that she's handled it really poorly. I think there's just all the people that have grace and empathy for her to say, hey, we cry when we're, rejected, and that's totally normal. Fine. Okay. Totally fine. Absolutely. But let's honestly, return that respect to Ivan and his podcast and give them some grace for sharing their opinion. I want more of that, Ivan. Keep sharing your opinion. Keep listening and responding to others. This is growth. This is good. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Leave a comment below. I'm going on Patreon right now, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Bye, everybody.